Hi guys, welcome to the channel. Thank you for joining me and thank you for your continued support. Right, so there is this, very early on in the stages when the Labour Party first came into power and first started looking at disability benefits, they touched on fit notes or sick notes or whatever they call them these days. But the notes that you normally get, for example, the GWP sometimes ask you for a fit note from your GP to see what your condition is and things like that. So early on, the government said they were going to look at this situation. Liz Kendall has now said a bit more detail into how they're going to look at it and what they're looking to do. So I'm going to show you this article on here, but there's also another interesting thing which is part of the article but not part of the reason for this video, and that is that she hasn't ruled out the possibility of more benefit cuts given the economic climate, which is absolutely awful, to be fair. Because again, the way she's saying it is just like, we may need more money, so we're going to attack you again. We're going to cut even more money out of you. But anyway, let's get back to the article and I'll show you what I mean. Okay, so sick notes to be overhauled in back to work drive, says Liz Kendall. So sick notes used to sign people off work could be overhauled under plans to slash unemployment, Liz Kendall has revealed, as she also refused to rule out further benefit cuts. The Worker Pensions Secretary said the process was being looked at as part of moves to stop people falling out of the workforce due to health issues. Speaking to the iPaper, Kendall, who announced billions of pounds in welfare savings in a bid to reduce levels of people claiming disability and out-of-work incapacity benefits, said she could not rule out having to introduce further cuts in the economic climate. I can't believe they're even thinking about doing more, but anyway. But the minister said she believed the majority of Labour MPs understood the case for change and her focus was on getting people into work. Well, actually, no, that's not the case. Her focus is on saving money. She just said that in the previous thing. Given the economic climate, there could be further cuts. This is about money. This isn't about getting people into work. Kendall revealed a review into how businesses can better support sick and disabled people will look at overhauling the sick note or fit note system to stop people being signed off at current rates. John Lewis boss Sir Charlie Mayfield will carry out the review. 400,000 people are falling out of work due to sickness every year, Kendall said, pointing to evidence that the longer a person is signed off work for, the less likely they are to return to employment. Mayfield will be looking at issues like the fit note and what more we can do, because too many people are being written off rather than actually being provided with help and support. I went with the Health Secretary, Wes Streeting, to see some brilliant work that we're doing jointly, where GPs, instead of writing people a fit note, are actually referring people to employment support, and it's already started to make a big difference. But I don't understand that. If someone has a condition or has something wrong with them that needs medical support, and they need to be off work while they have that medical treatment or whatever it might be, why are they then being sent to employment support? I don't see the point with that. They're not being signed off of work because they don't want to work. There's obviously some kind of medical problem there. Why would sending them to employment support change that? I don't understand that. The previous Conservative government has said it wanted to look again at how readily people were signed off work sick by their GP with a promised review of the fit note system. So again, they're looking at previous Conservative government things and taking them forward. So, a lot of these ideas aren't their own. They are the Conservatives that they've then brought forward. But this is the first time Labour administration has confirmed it is also looking to overhaul the process to point people towards employment support rather than signing them off with illness. Kendall also refused to rule out implementing more cuts beyond the $5 billion in welfare savings last month. She said, nobody is going to write budgets for the rest of the Parliament. But she added, my view is that the way you get the benefits bill on a more sustainable footing is by getting people into work. When pressed on whether this meant she would be coming back with more cuts or freezes, she said, we have already set out our plans. I'm not going to write a forever budget, but we have set out a big reform. The reforms to personal independence payment and health element of universal credit are expected to be subject to parliamentary vote in May, when some Labour MPs have publicly said they will vote against the measures. Asked if she had the numbers in the Commons to pass through legislation, she said, "I have been spending a lot of time talking to Labour MPs and they're rightly raising issues and we're working through that with everybody. I think the vast majority of people know that change needs to happen and they understand that we have in order to get sickness and disability on a more suitable footing." My issue with this is, of course, the fact that they are now they're looking to refer people to employment support instead of actually giving them medical support. I don't understand that. I mean, I guess it depends on what the conditions are that their people are going off work with. But is this also going to affect the right to try scheme? You know, the right to try work. If you're on the right to try scheme, and you, for example, if you have a physical or a mental problem that flares up and gets worse, are they then going to allow you to stop working and go back on benefits, or are they then going to transfer you to employment support instead to try and stop you leaving work? That's something which I think needs to be clarified. It really is ridiculous that they're even thinking about a bit more cuts in the future. They haven't said they're going to happen, but they haven't said they aren't. So I think really this needs to be looked at in very great detail. I'm going to be posting this on X or Twitter as it used to be called. I'm going to be posting on there so that everybody can see it. Let me know down in the comment section what your thoughts are on this. I'm sure I already know what they are, but please do let me know down in the comment section what you think. And also, if you've got this far, please do consider subscribing. It really does help the channel a huge amount. And I hope that you are all doing well, and I will see you next time.